To the Bubba the Love Sponge after show. A little bit later, me and Blitz were talking some business. Lummy got very excited.
Of course.
Lummy found out about a situation that we were the topic that we were talking about. Lummy's like, they do that, and we're like, yeah. And they're like, oh my god, I like them so much better.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Maybe this is the Gare Bear. Hello. Looks like maybe not. Anna, how you doing?
Great.
We didn't really even get into you and Blitz's Easter. I actually had a good Easter. I had my sister's lasagna, and it was just a very
Sour vagina.
I saw
sour pussy lips.
She thinks I saw her pussy, but I didn't.
Oh,
well, my mom did. My mom did, and my mom told her, "Tara, your pussy's hanging out."
Well, we did legs.
I posted on
okay.
I posted on our Facebook today. Let me show you guys a little picture of just me, my mom, and Tara for Easter. It's kind of cute, I think. Let me see here. Here we go. Hold on.
Aw, you look good.
You
look skinny.
Well, stop.
I mean, you do.
Tara looks good too.
Yeah.
I mean, you all look good.
Look at my little Janie.
You look
cakes.
good, but the shadow makes it look like you have a black eye.
It kind of does.
Yeah, shiner.
Kind of does.
With
my Warsaw, Indiana gimmick on. That's on our Facebook, which hopefully some people are watching us on our Facebook.
We're there.
Facebook, YouTube, I mean, I guess I could probably get rid of these now, couldn't I? I mean, I could probably delete that, right?
Yeah.
Oh, hold on. You know what I'm talking about?
No, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Right here.
Yes.
Delete that.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. Oh, fuck.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, fuck. I didn't mean to do that. Sorry.
It's okay.
Can you pot up Alexa and try something?
Yeah, whatever you need me to do.
So say
Ask
Alexa.
her who Blitz K is?
No, say Alexa, enable Bubba Army, or I'm sorry, enable skill Bubba Army Radio.
Alexa, enable skill Bubba Army Radio. I do it.
Okay, here's Bubba Army Radio. Now playing Bubba Army Radio.
You look good, but the shadow makes it look like you have a black eye.
Oh, there you go.
Hey.
Oh, so tell her to stop?
Shiner.
Yeah. Alexa, stop. Cut it up.
Now,
Thanks for listening to Bubba Army Radio.
now do it and just say, Alexa, play Bubba Army Radio.
Okay. Alexa, play Bubba Army Radio.
Now playing Bubba Army Radio.
Couldn't I? Yeah, you could probably.
There you go.
could probably delete that. Wow.
So anyone that does it, they have to say enable skill first.
Right here.
Yes.
And then from then on out, just play. But the first time you do it, you have to say enable
There
skill.
we go. Oh, fuck. Well, how are we going to be able to get that word out?
Fuck.
Oh, fuck.
Tell people.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Maybe put it on our Instagram, our
Can you
Facebook,
Yeah.
our TikTok.
Mhm.
Yeah, whatever you need me to do.
So say
Ask her who Blitz K is.
No, say Alexa.
You can probably tell
enable
her stop now if
Bubba
you want.
Army, or I'm sorry, enable skill.
I like
Bubba
listen. I like
Army
double
Radio.
track,
I like
maybe
listening
triple
to
track and
myself.
rolling.
Listen to me.
Alexa, listen to me. Listen to myself. Bubba Army
Wow.
Radio.
Okay,
I want to hear it again.
here's Bubba Army Radio. Now playing Bubba Army Radio.
You look good, but the shadow makes it look like you have a black eye.
Oh, there you go.
Hey.
Oh, so tell her to stop?
Shiner.
Alexa, stop. Alexa, that wasn't live.
That
You-
wasn't live.
Fuck
Nope.
you, Blitz. You got me. You
That
got
was
me.
not live. Now,
Alexa,
now
stop.
do it and just say. All right, so now you're good.
So they got to say her name. So I'm going to say Rhonda.
Yeah,
So, Rhonda. Then you say what?
Enable skill.
Enable skill.
Bubba Army Radio.
Bubba Army Radio.
Yep.
And then they'll do
And
that.
then once you do that once, then you can just say play Bubba Army Radio.
Right. Perfect. Finally,
I know.
we are really getting after it.
Mm-hmm.
What if Big Woody comes? Just tell him to jump right on the show.
Actually, Brad, I think he's at the gate.
Hey,
Yeah,
Big Woody.
and just tell him to get right on the show. You guys got the hard drive for her?
Yeah, the thumb drive, yeah.
Yeah. So I was just
Oh,
gonna.
middle mic though is
You want me to? I'll
Switch
take
it
care
up
of
and
it.
also turn on and off the camera alarm
Okay.
Can you turn off the mic at the?
at 3.
It's off.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's off. And we'll just put him in there, and I'll tell him what my vision is.
Okay.
You know, I could just go through here.
Just careful on some of them.
Well, yeah.
Especially with where we're at right now.
Oh, yeah. You're right. Let me see here. Gotta find. I probably could just type outs and ins, but at the end of the day, I can just probably find them right here on the. Here we go. Here's one. Let me see.
Yeah, like the BRN and or BTLS.
Is it BTLS promo club? They're all BTLS, are they not?
Oh no, there's some BRN too.
There's some BRN too.
Correct. Yeah.
All right, hold on here. Bubba 199. I hear.
There's one. See, BTLS out 17,
Yeah.
15.
Yeah, but we don't know what it's going to say.
No.
Let me see here. I'll get ready to.
Hey, we'll be right back. Back for more of the Bubba the Love Sponge Show.
On Howard 101.
All right, so hold on here.
The Bubba the Love Sponge Show.
It's the Bubba the Love Sponge Show. And it's only on Howard 101.
Is Woody coming in?
Yeah.
It's the Bubba the Love Sponge Show.
The Bubba the Love Sponge Show. On Howard 101.
All right, good. So, since I got the corn snake in here himself, I figured we would.
Hey,
Big Woody, get in there on the microphone.
right here.
And I
Hi.
figured we would just talk this out live on the air. I can't even tell you when's the last time you were on the air, Woody? Have you been doing fill-in work over there at the Big 8?
I do a little bit from time to time.
Have you got a hold of Jack?
I did get hold of Jack.
How's Jack doing? Boy, Jack's really milking out this I got fired YPO. I'm like, Jack,
I think social media is milking it.
Well, none of us ever are told our last show. Like, they never say, Bubba, guess what? We're firing you on Friday.
Point it down there.
Go ahead and tell your side of the story. Nobody ever does that.
Right.
How are you doing? By the way, Big Woody is his real name is Brad James. He's I've known him since 1992 when I went to the Power Pig.
Yeah, it was a while ago, wasn't it?
And you were, I think, in 92, you were just a production guy.
That's all I was, just a production guy. I actually put the pig on the air, though, you know.
Well, you put the pig on the air, but then you were Brad James's bitch.
Yeah. No, Brian James.
Brian James.
He came in about 5 months after we put the pig on the air.
Did he really?
Yeah. Yep.
God bless his little soul.
Yeah, it was me and Jeff Lawrence that did all the original imaging.
Really?
Yep.
So that brings me to why and I want you to give me a bill for this.
Okay.
But not like not a fucking not a Chris Corley bill.
Not a real bill.
It's not a real bill. A few $300-$400 maybe. But I have all these. All of my shit is so stale. You listen to the show every day.
Yeah.
Like this stuff. All that shit is just, all my ins and outs are just ridiculous. Well, I have, over the years, I have hold on.
It's the Bubba the Love Sponge Show.
The Bubba the Love Sponge Show.
So, I got so many of them that I just need, them cut and pay. Like for instance, right here. Hold on. Let me just give.
We now return to the Bubba the Love Sponge Show.
Boom. Now, they go on to say.
We now return to the Bubba the Love Sponge Show on Howard 101.
Well,
I
just need but that's one, I own all these, and two, they're all good.
Yeah, they're
I
produced.
just need them produced. Like for instance, you could use that, and then but maybe put Tara at the end of it.
It's the Bubba the Love Sponge Show.
Not that one. Hold on here.
It's Bubba the Love Sponge. Back on Howard 100.
But just put your fucking
I got you.
Brad James it up.
Are they all rejoiners?
Well, no. I got ins. I got outs.
Okay.
I got. Let me see here. Let me see. I'm just looking at. They're all. Every one of them is a rejoin, either in or out.
Okay.
Either going in or out. Hold on.
The Bubba the Love Sponge Show.
The Bubba the Love Sponge Show.
All I do is got to cut out.
Who produced all that? Carl?
Carl.
A lot of it, yeah.
Carl. Here we go.
Hey, learn how to.
Oh, listen to those fucking pipes. Oh God, this makes me sad. Listen, here we go. This makes me so.
Hey, learn how to work, kid.
This is the Bubba the Love Sponge Show on Howard 101.
God, what, Brad? What,
Oh, my God.
Do you not have goosebumps?
Yeah.
Fuck.
He was such a good friend.
Hey, learn how to work, kid.
I would be rolling in there about 6 o'clock, right when he was wrapping shit up, or
Yeah.
he'd already done his station stuff, and that's when he was really making his gravy.
That's right.
And so he would stay sometimes till 8 o'clock because like he'd work till 4:30 doing all J-Core bullshit, and then he would do Inside Edition and all the other stuff. But he would be like, "What do you got coming in tonight, Clem?" I'd be like, "Well, I got some strippers and some whores," and he'd be like.
I always knew if you had that banner up over the window. You remember how you used to put the banner up over the window?
Oh, yeah.
I said, if Bubba's got that banner up, I'm going in there. I want to see what's going on.
I'm calling the wife up and telling her I'm running
sure
late.
enough, you'd walk in there and he'd have girls all across the console.
Dude,
I mean, butt
pussies
naked.
hanging out.
Oh my God,
Back to Bubba.
Bubba,
the love.
unbelievable.
Back to Bubba. Bubba, the love sponge.
See, I mean, some of that's pretty good shit.
Yeah. It's well
I mean,
produced.
you know good production.
Yeah.
And, I remember one time, do you remember when Pete Rose was down at 970 FLA?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, Pete, growing up, you and I are relatively the same age. And growing up, I mean, Pete fucking Rose.
He was the bomb, right?
And so I never thought in a million years I'd meet Pete Rose. The next thing I know, Guido comes in and says, "Hey, the guys down at 970 said Pete Rose saw some strippers walk in because we parade them right through the front and wants to know where they're at." And we told him, well, and the 970 said, well, they're back in the Bubba's land,
right?
And we're not allowed back there because remember, past that door you couldn't come back.
Yep.
What the hell was Pete Rose doing at 970?
Promoting some bullshit.
Oh, okay.
And so next thing you know, Pete Rose comes in and says, "Bubba, can I sit in the corner?" And he goes, "I don't want to publicly be known that I'm here. But could I watch?" I'm like, "Hell yeah, you can watch." And he was like,
Yep, he insulted everyone during that last break. The Love Sponge on Howard 101.
I mean, Brad, my shit's gonna sound so good, isn't it?
Yeah, that's really well produced.
Somebody got into our heads. Bubba the Love Sponge. Change personality on Howard.
But and then all you gotta do is just find me a standard out, on the Bubba Radio Network, and I think I got a few on the Bubba Radio Network.
There's an in there. If you go all the way down, scroll all the way down.
Where?
With your mouth. Yeah. Fat.
I don't know if I can say why. Woody Camps.
You fat fuck. You fat fuck. You fat. Bubba the Love Sponge on Howard 101.
You get it fly in the Big 8?
Yeah, that's not gonna fly on the Big 8.
Yeah, I don't think it'll work.
That's gonna be an NAL on the Big 8. That's what it's gonna be. It's going to be a big no.
Striving to reach new lows every day. It's Bubba the Love Sponge on Howard 101.
Now, who was that?
That was the guy for Sirius.
Okay.
But since I was a subcontractor, they had to agree to, you know what I'm saying, for me to own them.
Yeah.
That was a big whodunit.
Yeah.
Hold on here, let me see. Oh, that's the bullshit we're working on now. But I probably still need that static, don't I? I need that static rejoin. Or could you think of something a little more hip than that, Brad? Because this is what we standard use. Because you gotta have 5 or 6 seconds to let the affiliates, sync up. So I probably need to keep that standard, don't you think?
Do you have that piece dry by itself?
Somewhere we do.
That or you can just take it right off of here, I think.
Yeah.
I think you could just rip it. You could rip and read with the technology you got. Fuck. I mean, please.
Yep.
Hold on here. Let me see here.
We're back with the Bubba the Love Sponge Show.
The Bubba the Love Sponge Show on Howard 101.
Yeah, you got a lot of good stuff.
It takes a lot of energy to be this stupid. Bubba the Love Sponge on Howard 101.
Oh, there's so much good shit. I'm like, man, only Brad James could be. We wouldn't even know what to fucking do on this.
I'll get it on there. I'll throw it in Pro Tools and see what I can do with it. There's a lot of it.
It's the Bubba the Love Sponge Show on Howard 101.
I got some other things too. Oz girls in a threesome. How things going for you, buddy?
Good.
How's
Things
the big
are good.
gorilla doing?
It's all right.
You know what sucks?
I don't know if you've noticed the signal. We finally got the signal fixed.
Mm-hmm.
It's blowing now.
Well, that's good. I mean, that's good.
It really is.
Because there's been so many times that it's not been blowing.
No,
It blew for a while.
Yeah,
right?
it was horrible for a long time, but we put a new transmitter in there to the tune of about $80,000.
ADD never sounded so good.
Fuck you. That's half the fucking deal. Maybe I have to cut that part out.
ADD never sounded so good.
God, I could just listen to Brian
Yeah,
James
Brian was
promos
great. He
all
was great.
day.
It's the Bubba.
I mean, but we'll sound so much bigger, don't you think, Brad?
Oh, you got to have it.
Do you remember that little skinny microphone that Brad used to have?
Brian, yeah, it was a shotgun. It was a
How could he get that much? Was his? I mean,
shotgun mic. That's what everybody's using. The Sennheiser 416. That's what everybody uses now.
for real?
Yeah, everybody.
Not for air though.
No, yeah. Well, not for air. No, for production. It's a shotgun mic, and
he was using them back in the early 90s.
Yeah, he got me one, and I started using it. They're great mics, shotgun for
Is that
production.
what you used too?
Yeah, absolutely. They're fantastic.
So you talked to Jack. How's he doing?
He's all right.
It was a shocker for him. Does he have some offers?
Well, I mean, I want him to come over and do what he wants to do. I want to work a deal with him, but he has a 6-month no compete, so he has to.
But hold on, I don't know that those are valid anymore.
Well, I don't know.
No, hold on. I don't know that they're valid anymore. I just had all my employees sign NDAs or what the hell the fuck called.
Right.
And Tom Bean was like, make sure you tell your employees that part of this NDA that's not, and make sure you say it in front of everybody, so that's everybody witness it. But that non-competes as far as keeping somebody, if you're not going to pay them, now if you're going to pay them. If you have a 6 months non-compete because they're paying you 6 months.
Well, that's what the deal is with him. He's going to get paid.
Okay, well then, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's enforceable. But
Right.
if a guy if you just get fired, and if you got some severance coming or whatever, but they cannot. They used to be able to say that you literally couldn't go across the street for 6 months, even if they didn't pay.
Oh yeah,
you.
I remember it well.
Well, the federal government just recently overturned that.
Right.
So non-competes are no longer enforceable. But
Right.
if they're paying him,
Yeah, they're paying him.
well, who does afternoons for us now? Me. You guys
I'm
repurpose
replaying
me.
you. Yep. Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Which you know what? People love it too, because a couple, once in a while I have to preempt you for Yankees baseball,
Right.
and we get calls. It's like, hey, I'd rather hear Bubba.
And I
I'm
got
sorry about those calls, man.
yeah, Brad,
all of us.
we got there are trolls. But I mean, where would you put Jack?
On 1040, our news talk.
Oh,
Not 820.
not 820?
I might simulcast them, to be honest with you.
Instead of 2 pros and a cup
He
of
said
Joe,
he wanted
just
to
put
do
it there.
he wanted to do morning, so
You
you
like
guys gonna
those guys?
fire me?
I like them.
Fire me and
you
put
do?
Jack in there?
Yeah.
Two pros,
Two pros,
Two
and, a
pros
cup
and a
of
cup of
Joe. It's a
Joe.
Fox
No.
show that I run right after you from 10 until noon. It's all right.
I've never heard it.
It's
With Brady Quinn and
LeVar Arrington.
yeah.
And, yeah.
Oh, at least.
Yeah, they're
I mean,
okay. They
Then
there's
you got-
nobody coaching
then you
them. There's
got-
nobody coaching anybody in radio
Then
anymore.
you got fucking Jim Rome. That's my man
Jim,
right there.
oh my God! You should have heard him at Radio Row during the Super Bowl week. He just absolutely just killed it. I mean, I couldn't have done as well as he did with a live guy out there. I mean, he had every A-lister that was there. Every Hall of Famer.
You got to do Jim Rome. He's like in my radio world, he's on the Mount Rushmore.
Absolutely, I agree.
I got
He
Jim
is.
Yep.
Yep.
Rush Limbaugh.
Yep.
Howard.
Yep.
And probably
Phil Hendry in my book.
Well, yes.
There was no one more entertaining than Phil Hendry on the radio.
That's mine too.
There's only a few people that have ever made me pull off the road laughing. He's one of them.
Yeah. Phil, I would say Jim Rome, Howard Stern, Phil Hendry, and who the fuck? And Rush Limbaugh.
Rush, yeah. I agree.
I'll tell you who I like. I like Ben Shapiro.
No, I'll tell you who you got to listen to. The guy that
Dan Bonagino?
The guy I'm running from Fox now, from noon till 3. I run him on our news talk. Jimmy Fallon. He was a cab driver in New York City for like 25 years.
Oh, yeah, he's on a lot of Fox.
He's on a ton of Fox. He's funny.
He's like
as
a
hell.
comedian.
He's conservative, yeah, and he's funny, but he's funny as hell. I mean, his show, he's not on there like Sean Hannity just yelling at every liberal out there. He actually makes jokes about it. It's funny as it's a great, entertaining show.
You keep in touch with Glenn Beck at all? Were you and Glenn? Were you and Glenn close?
I did afternoon drive news for him for 2.5 years.
I know.
I was the anchor. No, we weren't close. I mean, we were when he was here. We were, but once he got up there and moved to Philadelphia, and got his little circle, a group of people around him.
I love Glenn, but
I do too.
If he doesn't pay homage to Randy Michaels,
oh yeah,
because when
Randy and Gabe.
Well, Randy and Gabe, as soon as Glenn started breaking, as soon as 9/11 happened, and Glenn started breaking it down, getting into some things.
Well, you know how that whole thing happened with him. So who did we have? What's the lady that the female talker? That gave like marital advice. God, I'm drawing a blank here.
Laura Schlesinger?
No.
Dr. Laura, that's exactly right.
That's her.
So we had her on from 9 until noon on 970 when 9/11 happened, and they syndicated her, Premier syndicated her, and she refused to talk about it. She said, "No, I'm not going to talk about that." And we're like, and Gabe is like, "Wait a minute, you got to talk about this. This is a national.
This is the biggest thing ever happened in our lives."
She refused to talk about it, so they pulled her off and put Glenn Beck on.
Right, and
that's how it happened.
Glenn Beck was a zookeeper out of like Y95 in Phoenix, was he?
He was an FM jock. That's right.
Right, he was a zookeeper.
He used to
Phoenix.
hang around the radio station. This is a true story. He used to hang around at 970, and he would do some part-time fill-in stuff for us. And he used to come into my production studio, and he'd say, "Man, what do I got to do? What do I got to do?" I said, "Glenn, just hang in there. Just hang in there. It'll happen." He had nothing to do. I mean, he was just dying to get on the air. And this is when he was good then. I mean, he was great then. He wasn't like he is now, but he was just dying to get on the air. And finally, when Dr. Laura pulled her crap, they put him on. And look what happened to him.
Hold on. I hate to be a dick, but Glenn Beck was such a non-factor that I didn't even know who he was.
No, but he was talented then, But yeah, you're right.
I mean, I owned the building. Building was mine.
Yeah.
Building was mine, and I fucking ran the building. And I mean, even that's what made MJ so mad over the years, is because he came in '94, and I'd already been like, "This is my fucking building. I run the building around here." And I remember one time.
It's true too. It's so true.
I mean, Brad, you worked there.
I was there from the time I moved us from downtown. I moved us into that building.
Right, but I mean, if and here you are, my friend, but you're certainly an unbiased opinion. I mean, there was when we would have meetings on Monday, jock meetings. Everybody hated me because there were two set of rules. There were rules for everybody else.
And there were rules for Bubba.
And there were rules for me.
Which basically were no rules.
Yeah. Nobody could have visitors, but I could have literally 14 strippers, squirting on the console at 9:30. Do you remember, so we were on an urban-leaning Power Pig format.
Yep.
And I played album cuts of AC/DC.
Oh, of course I do.
At 10:15.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Chase and Randy came in the market one time and said, "What am I listening to YNF or am I listening to 93.3?" And Mark says, "Hey, dude, he's got a 39 share."
That's right.
What the fuck?
Go tell him not to play that. He's got a 40 share, right? Yeah. No, it was.
Then I did Beastie Boys at 9:30, AC/DC at 10:15, and then I'd put on like 3 songs in a row and go get head in Mark Chase's office.
Yep.
Remember?
Yeah, I do.
And Chase would be like, "Hey, dude, just don't get no shit on my couch."
Yeah, I was just gonna say, and after a while, when you went into Mark's office, you just stand up.
You wouldn't sit on the couch.
You didn't want to sit. You didn't want to sit down on the
Bubba,
couch.
DNA.
There was no telling what was. I mean, it was just.
I remember one time. So I did the Let Your Chichia Run Wild sex tape.
Oh my gosh!
And I cut a deal completely behind everybody's back, and I forget XTC Super Centers or something gave me like $10,000 to promote them, and I had them all printed up and everything, and they're selling like hotcakes, and I'm on the air being, "Man, go if you want to see my behind the scenes." And by the way, they weren't my houses. They were all my rich friends' houses.
Yeah.
And so Tom Owens calls me up. And he was the president of programming, but vice president of the company. And he goes, "Hey, buddy."
Yeah.
Tom Owens. I go, "Hey, Tom, you coming into town this weekend? You need some pussy?" He's like, "Well, we'll talk about that later. But can you tell me why I just got off the phone with 4 of the board members wanting to know why we're selling pornographic tapes of you showing girls' pussies inside the studio?" I go, "Oh, I didn't even know that would be a problem." He's like, "Yeah, it's a little bit of a problem. I'll tell you what, you need to go back." So people don't even know this. Dave Reinhardt gave me $10,000 cash. I had to go to Russell Link, and he had it hidden in the ceiling.
Oh, my
He had it hidden in the ceiling. It was 10 grand cash. When they would go out on T-shirt patrol and stuff, they would they would save some cash, and they gave me 10 grand cash, and I had to pull those things off the shelf. But yeah.
Russell Link was undoubtedly the best business manager that any radio company could ever have. Because
And they fired him too, didn't they?
No, he left. He moved to Hawaii. But you could walk into his office and say, I got an emergency, and he would just pull out his books and he'd find some money from somewhere. This was when I was running DAE. I had no budget for anything. And then I'd say, Russell, I got to have $1,500. I need a blah, 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 blah. He'd say, okay, we'll borrow this from this, and we'll borrow this from this, and we'll make it happen.
Brad, I'll tell you right now, Brad.
He was great.
I'd come in after I'd sold T-shirts in Waimama on a Friday and made like $7,500 that I gave to the station, and he goes, and so then Monday I'd come in for the chalk meeting. He goes, I will tell you right now, they're very happy with you. They're very happy with you.
We had pig bucks. Remember pig bucks?
I made them, most of them.
Oh, my God. It was the greatest thing. They'd hand you, $500 in ones, and you just go to the mall and you just hand them out to people.
Bullshit. I'd fucking hand out 200 of them and put 300 in my pocket.
Chase gave me $1,500 at one of our first staff meetings. Because, during the launch, this is the honest to God's truth. During
Talking
the launch,
about the Power Pig station in Tampa, Florida,
so
back
during
in
the launch,
1989.
They had just got the building on Gandy. And so I was producing imaging for the Power Pig, for the launch of the Power Pig, in an old 2-track studio in downtown Tampa at the old Jackson Street Studios, where we had no multi-track capabilities. This is the honest to God's truth, and only people in the business are going to understand this.
You were still using razor blades and China markers.
I had two track reel-to-reels and a triple-deck cart machine. And that's what I produced the original imaging for the Power Pig on. That's a true story. With Randy Michaels looking over my shoulder, having never produced CHR in my life, didn't even know what the letters stood for.
Right. And with Q105 having a fucking 41 share and
Mike Reeves, one of the most creative guys in the world.
Right.
Yeah.
And the industry, the entire radio industry from Los Angeles to New York to Chicago said nobody will ever be able to knock Q105 off. I mean,
our in-house research, Bubba, had us beating them in 3 days. I swear to God, in 72 hours, our in-house research, critical mass media up there in Cincinnati had us ahead of them in all the call-out. In 3 days.
We would do positioning statements like, when you see Q105.
Flip them the pig.
Flip them the pig. Like, you tell them,
screw the Q.
Screw the Q. flip them off.
Flip them the pig. That
we
was
go
it.
over and dumpster dive there. They were so fucking stupid they wouldn't shred their music logs. So we would go over there and get in
their
dumpsters and pick out their music logs, Hannah. And then we would find out when their stop sets were, and we would fucking say, the Power Pig, do us a favor, flip over to Q105 because they're playing commercials. And literally people would flip over.
Yep.
And we'd be like, but we're not. 5 in a row for the Power Pig.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It worked, too. It was a great strategy, and it worked.
Oh, it was guerrilla. And you know what? You can't even do that anymore.
No.
Radio is so fucking woke.
Yeah.
I mean, it's how bad is it, Brad? And I know that you and Bruce probably get a little disappointed because I would love to be on a really big, like 98 Rock or a big fucking sexy FM. I would just for ego purposes. And I don't want you guys to get mad at me for saying that because I'm so thankful and I'm so appreciative of where I am now. And you guys believed in me when quite frankly nobody did or does. But you got arguably, and I'm not trying to blow smoke up my ass, but probably one of the top 3 or 4 radio personalities in the history of this town. That has changed with the times. The show's not, girls squirting and shit like that. The show. The show. I mean, you're the program. You're the operations manager of my flagship station, so the show, and they're like not interested. Not interested.
And you know what? All I ever do is just I stay out of your way. You never hear from me. You only hear from me if you need something or if I need something. It's you never hear from me because you know why? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Mm-hmm. And I mean, you said in an interview on television a few years ago, and in fact I have it on a liner, that the market would be shocked if they knew how many people were listening to you on 820 because we don't subscribe.
It's so, and
I guarantee it, and you know as well as I do, Bubba.
Let me tell you something.
Especially now with the signal the way it is, we got it back to where it was, 6 months ago.
It would be here's what's the people that we have to be careful here, but the people that keep score, it's so fucked up. The people that keep score, we'll just say Company X that keeps score of radio ratings. Here's what they do. If you don't buy their ratings, which in this market is like a couple $100,000. I mean, if Bruce was to buy the ratings, it'd probably cost him well into six figures.
Yes, it does.
Okay. So that's just the ability to be able to say we're in 13th place or, we have this share. But if you don't buy the ratings because, only 3 or 4 companies can really afford them, if you don't buy them, now they used to rate you. They would rate the non-purchasing stations. They would still rate you. You just couldn't use it as data to sell as, you couldn't go to an advertiser and say, hey, we got a 5.5 share.
That's right.
Because you didn't buy them. So you could not say that. But nonetheless, they reported you, and they kept score nonetheless.
Right.
Now, they don't even keep score. So my question is, if there are 51 people playing the game, but only 31 are being rated, and your ratings are based on 31, well, and 31 equaling 100%, then what about the other 20 stations that are obviously getting a percentage of listenership? Wouldn't that flaw your the 31 stations that are getting? If let's say a station that's being rated said they had a 5 share. Well, let's say of the 21 radio stations combined, they're taking 10 shares out of the market. Mm-hmm. Well, then
your research is obsolete at that point. I totally agree.
I might have
maybe it's Nissan.
Hello, it's Bubba. I'm doing my show, just chilling out on the air. Hello. Hello, I'm ready to take your phone call. Brad, if you got a collection call, just tell them that they're live on the air, and they'll go away. And they'll go away. So here's the deal.
That's a great point. I want to make another point too. So let's say you're Company X, and that's the business that you're in, and you have these huge clients that have, 1,200 properties around the country, right? And then you have a client that's in one of those markets that only has 2 properties. Who are you going to take care of the best, if you know what I mean?
12.
Of course.
Well, and not only that.
And that's what happens to the little guys like us.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so...
You don't think I didn't get railroaded by that company?
Oh, God. It's just... Yeah.
I mean, it's unbelievable. So, it would be amazing to know how many people we really have listening to us in the morning. I would be willing to say, Brad, that men 25-54 were top 10.
Oh, without a doubt. I have no... Bubba, you know how I know this? Every advertiser that's in your show, they've been with us a long time, and here's what we know. They get great results.
You know what?
That's all we need.
You know what you need to do to me is, since I haven't had this conversation with you, you need to give me a list of those advertisers that have been loyal to the show on AM 820, and give me a list. And you know what? When the networks open, I'd love to recognize them and throw them a little added value.
Oh, great.
I would.
I'd love that.
I mean, really, they're just, which would also help you on the sales side of things too. Saying, hey, man, when Bubba, when the network was open, when he had however many millions of people or whatever, it certainly doesn't hurt.
Right. Absolutely.
Oh, I know one of them is Diaco Law. We'll take your call. Yeah. That one runs on it. Mm-hmm.
So everything else going pretty good for you?
Everything's going great.
How's your health? I know you were fucked up for a while.
Outside of being a big fat slob, I'm okay.
You're not that fat.
Yeah, I'm way overweight.
What's
Have
going
you
to
heard of
happen?
Ozempic?
6'5", 285.
Hey, you need to get on the Ozempic.
6'5", 285?
Yeah, I heard you talking about the Ozempic. I don't think I can handle it.
Hold on.
The side effects just worry me a little bit.
You've always You've always been a worrisome person anyway. Like I'd be in there fucking doing some real fucked up radio, and you'd be like, "I'm just telling you, we're gonna get in trouble." I'm like, "Shut the fuck up, Brad."
Well, you got to understand, when I started, it was old school radio. I started at FLA in 93.3 in 1984.
Right. I started in 92.
That was my first, and everything was on the up and up. It was, Blair Broadcasting, and Media General.
You guys were worried about PLP back then.
Absolutely. It was but it was a different world then. It was still old school where you didn't talk about the competitor, where everything on the air was,
pristine,
yeah, absolutely.
by the book.
It was clean, man. It was really clean back then,
when I came in, Brad, do you remember
What year did Howard start?
Howard started in 80
around here, never,
but
Yeah.
82,
But he really didn't do his
till 90.
Right.
He didn't get big till 90.
See,
he didn't get big till he went into Philly and beat John DeBella, which
Right.
would have been 91, and then that's
what really opened the door.
Yeah, because Mel said, if you can go into Philly and beat DeBella, then I'll take you to Los Angeles and beat Mark and Brian. I'll run you up. The only market that Howard really never did well is against Mancow in Chicago, because Chicago is so hometowny.
Yeah.
And one of and Howard's a friend of mine, but one of the reasons why CBS never brought him in here is because they were afraid to put him against me, because I would have. They felt that I was Tampa. I was Tampa.
Well, you were.
But when I came to the Power Pig, and what were the jocks saying behind my back?
Oh, are you kidding? It was
bad.
Yeah,
They all hated
everybody
me.
was like, "What the hell?" What the hell is this?
What the fuck? Why are they letting them do this?
Yeah,
we don't get to do this.
Why is there a banner over the window? Oh, when I bring the carts in. Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. And then I mean, Brad, do you know what my last deal, and this is what really pissed. I don't know that any of them ever knew this. Did you know my last? Okay, so I signed a contract in '92, and within the first two books they ripped it up. My first deal was for $30,000.
Yeah, I remember that.
And within the first two books, I got there in September of '92, and by April of '93, Chase called me into the office to go talk to David Reinhardt.
Mm-hmm.
And this was 2 p.m. I'm like, I turned to Holly. I said, I'm fired. I mean, I've been doing this for
Holly. I remember
Holly?
She's the attractive blonde,
she
right?
was cool
Wiped
as
his
fuck.
butt when he's too fat to wipe his ass.
Yeah. So I remember. Listen, I'd been.
Then he cheated on her.
I'd been in radio for a while, and I knew I knew how to get fired.
Yeah.
I knew how the firing process went.
But see, Bubba, when you came in, we still had old school top 40 jocks like Dave Mann and John Rock and Roll Anthony and Jeff Lawrence, those kinds of guys that were the traditional style,
right?
Top 40 jocks.
Hawk and Marty.
Well, they weren't traditional.
No,
they were
right.
They were from the Y100 bunch from.
Right. I was the real outside
You were.
fucking bad boy.
You were the new. You
were
the
naughty.
You were the new style of night guy for top 40
right.
radio.
And the reason why they brought me in, and I'm going to be honest, I was in Milwaukee, and Randy and Mark called me and said, "Listen, we're going to be honest with you. We feel our shock. We've been around since early 89 or late 88.
Yep.
And it's 1992.
Yep.
And we're getting stale
Yep.
on shocking.
Yep.
Like we're just getting stale on, like there's not as much buzz about us." And so Randy says, "I want you to come in, and anything short of saying fuck and cunt and a couple other things.
What else?
He goes, other than the rule, he goes, I want you to.
Tits.
I heard you in Milwaukee. He said, I've heard you in Milwaukee when you were getting after it. He goes, I heard you in Orlando on XL when you would hang up on kids and ask if their mom had big jugs. And I heard you in Philly when you would have girls rub their privates on the phone.
Yeah.
All of the shit that I did.
Sure.
And he's like, I want it all. I want it all. And so I'm like, okay. So Chase, he says, I'm going to have Mark Chase call you. He's going to work out your deal. So I'm sitting at this Chinese restaurant in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, off of Blue Mound Road with Holly.
Oh, my God.
My cell phone rings and, hey, dude, you're going to be my new night guy.
Oh, my
and
God.
I'm going to pay you $30,000. And I'm going to tell you right now, man, $30,000 in Tampa goes a lot farther because we ain't got no state taxes down here. We pay you with sunshine.
He sold you that bill of goods.
And so I go, well, listen, Mark, I'm doing afternoons here in Milwaukee, and I'm making $55. And he goes, well, let me ask you a question there. Do you still got that job? I go, no, I just got fired. He goes, okay then, so $55,000 for 3 months' work ain't the same as $30,000. And I'm gonna tell you something, you ain't got to worry about getting fired here because we don't fire people, and they didn't.
No, that's true.
He
They
goes,
didn't.
we don't fire people. And he goes, if you do what Randy says, you got you a job for a long time. Now come on down here now, get you a U-Haul, get it all packed the fuck up, save the receipts, I'll pay you back, and get in here and talk to a man named Joe Mama. He's going to have you some temporary housing set up. He's a black guy, and he's going to have a temporary housing set up. Now, if you know anything about Joe Mama fucking played favorites like a motherfucker. And
big time.
He was Mark and BJ's henchman. And so Mark
he would do anything for them. I mean, and when I say anything, I mean anything.
When BJ was down doing bad stuff in Ybor and in jail, guess who came picked him up?
Oh yeah,
Joe
absolutely.
Mama.
Joe Mama was he cleaned up all the messes.
So Chase tells Joe Mama, I got this fucking hotshot from Milwaukee coming. I want you to treat him good as hell. I don't give a fuck what he wants. You take care of him. He's a big fat guy with a ponytail. So Joe Mama picks me up at the airport, and they took me to this extended stay deal.
Oh yeah.
And I hadn't even been on the air one night. I had not even been on the air yet.
Yeah.
And but I brought all these carts of all these phone calls that I had edited from Milwaukee, like saying, I would answer live, Power Pig, and then I'd hit the cart and be like, yeah, is this Bubba the Love Sponge? Yeah. You're a real fat. You suck. You suck. I'm like, well, then they just, and so Joe Mama said, what are all these things? I go, they're preloaded phone calls. He's like, I've never heard of that. I go, yeah, well, watch this, motherfucker. My first night, I'm going to have these people all fucking tore up. So I went on the air, just tore it the fuck up first night. So then Hawk and Marty are doing a live gig down at Hammerjacks, remember?
Oh, God, do I remember Hammerjacks.
And now Hawk and Marty, I'd been on the air one night. Nobody knew who the fuck I was. I'd been on the air one night.
Right.
And Hawk and Marty, it's their live gig. They're live on the air. And there was this bartender. And Power Pig had a tab. Now, Blitz, I don't drink. Like, I don't drink.
Very rarely.
Very rarely. Well, I had it in my mind, I'd finally found the station that fit me. I was going to be the man. I could just feel it. And so I go to this bartender, and I get drunk as fuck, and she doesn't know who I am. And she stopped. She said, "I'm not going to serve you anymore because the Power Pig bill. You're really not with the Power Pig." And I said, "Bitch, let me tell you something. I'm going to be the biggest personality in the history of this fucking town."
Oh yeah.
And so she went on to work for like J.J. Taylor or something. That woman did, and she came to the station one time. She goes, "You know what? You told me your first night exactly what you ended up being." And I was like, sorry, I was so drunk that night. I never got that drunk ever again. Hawk and Marty, they tolerated me. MJ hated my fucking guts.
Oh yeah. Well, I think everybody on the air staff practically. I know Dave hated your guts.
Dave hated my guts. Jennifer hated my guts. Hawk and Marty tolerated me.
Rock and roll probably hated you.
Tom Steele liked me.
Yeah.
But he was a little mad because they had broken up Tim and Tom because they were not doing it at night, and brought me in.
Yeah.
And then so in February, Dave Reinhardt comes. They call me up. They tell me to come in at 3:00 in the afternoon. I tell Holly, I'm done. I'm fired. They never have the night guy. I don't have to even be there by 6:30.
Right.
Like I don't. Oh, remember I had no production.
No, hell no.
See, all the other jocks had to do productions and overdubs. Not me. No production for me. No production for Bubba Clem.
No.
7 nights a week I had gigs.
Yeah, you were somewhere every night.
Every night.
You had to be banking, man.
Oh, hold on,
because
Brad.
What was an appearance fee? $300.
I was making $2,100 a week.
Cash.
Yeah.
Cash.
That's right.
Blowing on a horse. And so.
Oh, my God.
And so.
I know. I used to get gigs, and I was just a production guy.
I know. And
I
you
got
get a
gigs
gig
all the time.
Fuck yeah. You be at your local golf course doing some bullshit.
No, I was at Brits or.
Yeah.
I was somewhere.
Mako's.
Yeah.
New York.
Oh, New York. So Dave Reinhardt, so I'm making $30,000 a year. And he goes, Bubba, yeah. First of all, I'm like, Dave, what am I doing here at 3:00? Chase goes, don't worry about it, dude. It's going to be okay. I go, okay. So Reinhardt goes, now, Brad, you know what everybody was making. I mean, Dave.
I do, yeah.
Dave Mann was probably making 40, maybe 50.
Yeah, probably 40, 42.
Hawk and Marty probably made, what, 50 apiece?
Not quite.
Okay.
45 each.
All right. And, I don't know what Chase was making. Chase was probably making maybe a buck.
Buck and a half.
Yeah. And so they come to me because the ratings are and they want to sign me to a 2-year deal.
Yep.
And at 150, it was $75,000 a year.
It was time to lock up Bubba.
So they locked me up for 2 years at $75,000 a year.
Yep. Plus all your gigs.
Oh, plus all my gigs. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Plus fucking Tyrone Isuzu.
Now, what year was this?
This was in 93.
Okay.
So that took me to 95. And then I had one more year. I was done in 95, and I had a station in Denver that was a Clear Channel. That was a J-Core station, and the guy no, I'm sorry, it was whoever's going against Lewis and Floor Wax, or something like that. Whoever the fuck the two big guys in Denver were. And so in 95, I went to David Reinhardt and said, "Listen, I have a chance to go do mornings on a rock station because my shtick." Even though I had a 40 share at night, my shtick leaned men.
Oh, yeah.
Even though, I got all the girls just because, I was playing, fucking Janet Jackson.
Right.
But I would, I'd have all this men. So we didn't have, that was before we didn't buy 98 Rock until 96.
Right.
So in February or March of 95, I go to Dave Reinhardt and Chase is gone and it's BJ.
Mm-hmm.
And I go, hey, guys, I have a chance to make $100,000 to do mornings in Denver. And they're going to let me do all my stuff, No Panties Thursday, Redneck Monday. They're not going to – they're going to let me play no records. And Dave goes, if we match it, will you stay? And all you have to do is sign a 1-year deal because we're thinking – J-Core is going to buy CityCasters, and we're going to own 98 Rock in less than a year.
Right.
And I'm like, okay. So my last year at the Power Pig, Woody, my base was 100.
Jeez.
And so I'm making 100 plus the gigs.
Didn't they put you in? Didn't you move to afternoon for a while?
No. They put me on 970. And they put me on 970 FLA on Saturday afternoons for 2 shows.
Yeah.
Till Sue Tricus didn't like my vagina rules the world monologue.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, vagina. If you think about all the decisions us men have made about vagina, and if we just weren't attracted to it, but vagina rules. Well, she was a lesbian, so she didn't. She didn't really.
She knew.
She knew. Yeah. Sue. I should have said Sue of all people.
Yeah.
So
she was attracted to.
Oh yeah. So plus MJ's that got there in 94, and he was being a dick, and he was putting a bunch of pressure on them, and they knew that I needed, I couldn't do nights forever because one, I was starting to get, offers.
Right.
And so they're like, okay, listen, they closed on CityCasters in May or June.
Yeah.
And they're like, listen, I said, I want to quit. I'm going to quit. And come back December 1st on 98 Rock. So they gave me June, July, August, September, October, and November off paid.
Nice.
And I went and saw my friends and fucking blew my money and partied and whole 9 yards.
Right.
And then came back at 98 Rock and my first contract with them, I think was $180.
Really?
180 was my first deal for 98 Rock, and it was only a 1-year deal because they didn't know if it would translate, if it would work.
Oh. Okay.
And so they had, who was the old program director over there before Harden got there? He was legendary. the program director for 98 Rock, and they were going to keep him until I threw a fit. What the fuck was his name?
I'm trying to remember.
You might remember Blitz. He was all about the music.
He wasn't on air, was he?
No.
Yeah, I don't know.
Not Ledger. Scott Ledger was a jock. Not Big Rig.
I can't remember.
Fuck. And he was married to Julie. He was married to the
Julie Follman.
Follman.
Nick Van Cleve.
Nope. Somebody else.
God, I can't remember.
But he was just real, like, hey man. So I meet him at. Randy goes, hey, this guy's gonna be your PD, but he knows that you're a shove down, and he ain't got nothing to say about you.
Nice.
But can you do me a favor? Can you go out to Tex-Mex out there on Candy? No, I'm sorry, on Courtney Campbell. Meet him at Tex-Mex tomorrow at noon. See if you guys can hammer some shit out. But he knows that you're not going nowhere.
That's nice to hear from the CEO, isn't it?
So the CEO tells me. So I go out there, and I don't like this guy because he's a fucking, he's like, Blitz, he reminds me of Shark. Remember Shark over at Cox?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
like, hey,
Michael
dude.
Sharkey.
Yeah. Hey, dude,
I'm cool.
Yeah, and he's like, hey, you know what I envisioned, dude? I think we could get along, man. But I was thinking about maybe like 6 records an hour, and then like 4 like 6-minute speed breaks. And I go, well, I don't know what the fuck. This is exactly what you said. This is exactly what I said. I go, I don't know what the fuck you envision, but I'm not playing any fucking records, and I already have Randy Michaels in my back pocket. So either you fucking get along with what I'm doing, or I'm going to tell them to get rid of you.
Yeah, get on board.
And he's like, come on, dude. Like, you can, you haven't never, like, I had never done full-blown spoken word radio. I always do, I was on the Power Pig and played like, 5 records an hour nonetheless.
Right.
He's like, let's just ease into it. How about 4? I go, how about fuck you?
Yeah, I mean, what was
how about fuck you?
What was the point? I mean, just
he's like, Marla and Seabass. I go, Marla and Seabass are getting replaced by me because they're in fucking 8th place, men 25-54.
Yeah.
I said I shit 8th place. Okay.
Was it Charlie Logan?
Nope. Just keep researching 98 Rock, like 1995, 98 Rock program director. As soon as you say his name, I'll fucking I'll know who it is. And he went on like and went and like moved to Tennessee and sold antiques or some bullshit. But he was
looking at names. Greg Moll.
Okay. Yeah.
Greg Moll.
Right. Yeah.
Greg Moll, Blitz. Thank you. Great find.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's like, yeah, man.
I remember him.
And I was like, so Greg Moll quit. He quit, and they brought in Brad Harden.
Yeah.
And Brad Harden comes in and goes, hey, you're my little champion. You can do whatever fuck you want, buddy.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Brad Harden was a J-Core guy.
They brought him in from Cincinnati on EBN.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only CityCasters guy that stayed was D. Loretto.
Yeah.
And then Scott the Engineer until I ran him off.
D. Loretto.
So Scott the Engineer, we're over there at Feather Sound when I first started off, Woody, right?
Yep.
And the fucking phones won't work. And I go, hey, and so Scott the Engineer, this fucking Scott dude.
I remember Scott. I can't remember his last name, but I remember
Scott
who he was.
Miller, I think.
Yes, I think it was Scott Miller.
And like supposedly all the jocks were afraid of him. Like Ledger and Big Rig and all the dudes like, man, don't piss off Scott. He'll make your life hell. And I go, fuck him. So the phone lines, they're not working. They're not working. And he comes in, he goes, I get on the air and I go, Scott Miller to the control room. Scott Miller to the control room. And he walks and he goes, I don't like to be on the air. I go, well, good. I do. Here's the deal. These phones don't work. And if you don't fix them by the time that, I'm going to go into a stop set here. And my stop sets were 8 minutes and 20 seconds long. I said, you can somehow jerry rig this stuff up to work. Phone calls are a major part of my program. He's like, you're going to have to go ahead and write a request deal in here. Ugh. I took the fucking phone and threw it across the fucking window.
No, you did not.
Yeah, I did. Anna, I picked up the whole fucking phone.
With the cord?
With the cords and everything.
Oh,
and
my God.
Threw it at the door, and I
love it.
there you go. There's my written deal.
There's my problem. Fix it.
And so he goes to D. Loretto and goes, I can't work under these conditions. You're going to have to fire him. And D. Loretto goes, He's on fire.
Yeah.
I can't
Can't
fire
touch
him.
him.
Yeah.
Can't touch his.
Can't touch this.
No,
Can't touch this motherfucker.
Yeah, I love it.
And then he quit. He quit.
Yeah. That was in Feather Sound, right?
Yeah, then
So
we
that's
came-
where they moved back to, you know.
Well, then I hated it over there.
Where they
Like
are
I
now.
hated it because all my friends were over at Gandy.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I went with Randy
Cool
once.
kids.
Randy comes into town, and I go, Randy, listen, the fucking half of that building's a Bally's Health and Fitness, and they don't, and they're, and
Ain't nobody fit over there.
yeah. And I said, why don't you buy the rest of the building and bring us all together? Well, you know, we got a 2-year lease here. And I go, it's going to take you 2 years to build it. I said, please, please. And then add an extension. And they called it the Rock Barn in the back.
Yeah, that's right.
And that was at not my direction, but at my begging. I go, please, please.
Just keep the basketball court, and we did.
And we did.
Yeah.
We got one here too.
And then
Will Smith played there, by the way.
he did.
Yep.
Yep.
We had
Is he any good?
Bubba, tell him about the
Fresh
celebrities. Yeah, he was actually a very good basketball
Oh,
we had
player.
everything.
He was
Thank
a super
God.
nice guy, too, really.
Yeah.
I
And
remember him.
I was the only jock that had his own office
Yep.
with shag carpeting because I'd get head in there right after the show sometimes.
And the shag carpeting
Right.
would
So on, I would
protect
literally,
the knees
I
of
would,
the
I would
whores that
literally,
sucked you off.
That's
I would
right.
literally have some whores on, like from Oz after the show, and I would have Guido schedule them at 9:15.
Guido. Oh,
he would
my
schedule
gosh.
them at, or him or Brent.
Yeah.
would schedule them at 9:15, and then I would tell the manager that you need to pick out one of them to suck my dick
Right.
after the show.
Yeah.
And so,
What if they picked the wrong one?
well, they never did. They always had they had already had it predetermined.
Right.
Like which one is going to blow Bubba because this is what it
Did
takes.
they ever like rib you and they have like a gross one with no teeth or
'cause-
something?
No, because they would never be. They would.
Oh,
They would
no,
get fired.
That wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
you
had
don't
a-
want to ruin
I
your
had a
gig.
51 share min 2554.
No.
So if you were going to promote, fucking Rhonda Jugs being at Oz this
Yeah,
weekend, you
yeah,
had to be on my show.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I had to suck my dick.
no, honest to God.
No,
So-
I know.
So after the show, I would go in there. The girl would be waiting. This is literally 2 doors down from Brad Harden.
Yeah.
He'd see it all,
Mm-hmm.
and she'd suck my dick, and then she would leave and join. And the rest.
Were they
of-
always fucked up or were some of them sober?
No, they're always sober. That's
Oh.
before people got fucked up. I mean, we'd have them drinking and stuff like
Sure,
that.
of course.
Yeah.
Gotta, warm it up a little bit.
Brad, I don't know that anybody in radio has ever been able to roll like that. Like, I don't know that even. I mean, I don't know that anybody in Ron and Ron might have rolled like that, but I don't know that they had corporate the
No.
shady corporate backing
Yeah,
that they
no,
could get
I
their
don't think
dicks up
so.
like
Yeah.
that.
I
No one
don't
got
think
sucked
so.
off? The Ron and Ron?
Oh, I'm sure they did, but
But I
it
mean,
was
like,
probably,
at
it
the
was probably
station?
at gigs,
Yeah.
probably not at the. I probably
Oh.
got more head at the station than any.
It was all-
without a doubt.
It was all at the Bennington Comedy Club.
Yeah, the Bennington Comedy Club. Oh yeah, and so that's how and for years I had the cough girls, the come on your face. Blitz is
Come
very
on her
familiar.
face.
Yeah, they were called cough, and I could not say what the domain was, but it was comeonherface.com.
Mm-hmm.
And but we would call them the cough girls, but everybody knew the Iggy, and it was a website. I don't even know if it's still around. Come
I
on her
have
face.
no idea.
Comeonherface.com.
Come on her face.
Oh,
Bing it, Lummy.
Let me
About
bing it.
5 cents.
And so I would have them come every February and come on the show because if you remember, Blitz, I'd have a Super Bowl party.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
And then they would spend the weekend in town, and part of being on the show on Friday was staffing having 4 of the Come on Your Face girls at my Super Bowl party, and everybody that came to my Super Bowl party got head.
Yeah.
Like
Wow.
like Blitz will tell you, everybody
Yep.
got head, and or at least offered head. Like if Woody came back, Woody, you want some head? Woody never came to my parties because he was married at the time. But Blitz came to a few of my parties.
I was there. I was a few of them.
Really, Blitz?
Yeah, I mean Blitz got head.
Yeah, it looks like Come on My Face
millions of times.
girls are not there anymore.
Yeah,
Oh no, Lummy.
we had some famous we had famous people also come with beg to come to my Super Bowl parties.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, so man, the good
That
old
old
days.
time was just incredible, isn't it? When you think about it. I watched the
Masters probably this weekend.
Well, I did watch that.
I know.
But
I know you're probably fucking.
Listen, that rain delays, they were killing.
Oh my God, it was awful. But no, I watched
That
worse.
one guy choked. Kopka choked.
God, could you imagine watching a fucking rain delay of golf on TV?
Yeah, no, they put women's
my
golf on for a little bit.
God.
Well, actually, CBS got pretty smart when they figured out that the whole world would tune out during a rain delay because they'd put on last year's tournament
Or the women's tournament.
So what they do now is they'll tape the morning round. Okay, that doesn't make it for the live coverage when it comes on at 2:00. So they'll tape the morning round, and if there's a rain delay, they'll play the morning round from that morning.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah, but
so it's somewhat, They
didn't get that Saturday morning, though.
No.
Because they didn't have that.
That's right.
Ugh.
So you started to watch. You said I interrupted you.
I watched the story on Scott Shannon from Worst to First. I watched that last night on YouTube.
They didn't show the part where he had to leave town because we kicked his fucking ass.
Yeah, there's a lot left out in that thing. But I was just thinking, listening to you talk, I was thinking about how different it was what we did as opposed to what he did. It was just,
his was zookeeper, zany.
Yeah, it was.
bullshit.
He was zookeeper for sure. I mean,
Yeah.
Scott and Todd. I mean, that's later on ended up being the biggest zookeeper show.
Yeah. And he was a zookeeper down here before we knocked him off. I mean, I think he was
we
actually
beat
gone.
Q105 he was gone. We beat Q105 in one book.
And it wouldn't have mattered if he stayed because we would have made him. We would have made him unfucking cool too.
No,
we made him. We instantaneously made.
Yeah.
Even if you were at Q105 and kind of cool, we made you fucking uncool. It was just uncool. Like, you wouldn't be the nerd that went to the beach and listened to 104.7 because literally might get your ass kicked.
Right. Absolutely. That's true.
For real.
Yeah.
We had the lunkheads. We had the Hispanics. Because they were kind of more of a white-breaded CHR. And we went a little more rhythmic and a little bit more urban feel.
We launched with 80 records, and out of those 80 records that we launched with, they weren't playing 50 of them.
Right.
And those 80 were top 40 songs. They just skewed, one direction, and we said, well, we're going to go the other direction.
Right.
I mean, we were playing Love and Rockets. Remember that? So Alive, Love and Rockets up against, Paul Abdul.
Yeah.
And they weren't playing either one of those.
No. They just got their ass handed to them.
We launched with Love in an Elevator. That was one of the 80 songs we launched with. I remember because I carded every one of them up.
Yeah, we used to play them on cards back in the day.
I carded the first 80 songs we launched with.
I wonder what that building looks like inside now that they all are moved out. Are they going to knock it over?
Gandy, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're going to tear it down and build something there.
Boy, I'd like to find out who the owner is.
Didn't that furniture store buy it?
I think they may have, bud.
Oh, really?
I'd like, I
didn't know who bought
Woody,
it.
I'd like to walk through that building with you.
4,
I mean, even though they tore out all the studios and stuff, I would just love to do a walkthrough.
It would be kind of eerie, though, wouldn't
almost videotape.
Yeah.
Just kind of, Blitz, you know how they do, like, they walk through the abandoned mansions?
Yeah.
I'd love to do a walkthrough.
Andy, my IT guy, and I said the same thing. We'd like to just walk through it. Yeah.
Yeah, because I have stories almost, and I could be like, oh man, this is where Dave Reinhardt office was, and this is where Joe Mama's office was, and oh my God, here's BJ and this is where I got the most head, right in this fucking room right here. I got a lot of head in this room.
When they bought that building, when we were still in downtown Tampa at 801 Jackson Street, the old WFLA building that was built for 2 radio stations, by the way, a classic building that should have never been torn down. When they bought that building on Gandy, we had a staff party over there, like a luncheon staff party over there, and
new building.
Yeah, the new building, and that was an old the original building. It was an old Pinellas Lindsay lumber building. But anyways, when they bought the building, they gave us all a baseball bat and said, "Go help us tear down the walls."
Yeah,
and we all went over there with baseball bats, and we're literally just beating down the walls
like you're a bunch of fucking vagrants.
Yeah, exactly.
And then for the longest time, for like 12 years, we only had half the building because there was a Bally's Health and Fitness.
That's right.
And
the other side.
Then they bought the other side, and when they consolidated everybody over there.
That's exactly right.
But you know what? I need to find out who.
It had a pool in it. It had a basketball court.
Before they demo it, I'd love to walk through there. I know they
find out who the real estate company was, and
I got that.
Make that happen.
Yeah, I'd like to.
It might be somebody that I know.
Yeah, you know everybody.
Well,
anyway,
I know people in commercial real estate that could maybe make that happen for us.
So anyway, man, just wanted to see if you could do that little project for me.
Absolutely.
And just because my shit's so fucking stale. Do you know how much life that would bring to my show, Brad? Oh my God. Just getting some,
See,
new
you and I,
sounding-
we're old school. When we hear, a lot of people nowadays, they don't pay attention. Imaging went out. The great programmers nowadays say, "Oh, imaging, it's not such a priority."
What you put
And I say,
between the
bullshit.
shit means just as much as what the shit is.
Absolutely.
Bubba.
Let's bring on the pain.
Bubba.
Let's bring on the noise. Now we turn
Aren't you happy you listened to me?
Bubba the Love Sponge Show on Howard 101.
Yeah, that's great stuff.
Yep, they phoned that break in. The Bubba the Love Sponge Show returns after these words on Howard 101.
I mean,
Now, who produced that?
Carl Harris.
So Carl was with you for a long time.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Brad, and you know what Brad James?
That's good
You know
production.
what Brian James did for me when I first started out.
No charge.
When I first started out in Sirius XM, he's like, you know what, buddy?
No charge.
Send me. I'm not going to produce them. Just send them to me, and I'll send them back dry, free of charge. Because you're one of the very few people I loved over there, and two, I love the exposure on Sirius XM.
Let me tell you something. What Brian did for me, just real quick. Whenever he would get a call from a station that said that they wanted the stuff produced, not dry, because they didn't have a good in-house producer, he'd come walking down to the hallway and he'd say, Woody, I got this package and I'm charging them, $4,500 for a launch package. Will you produce it for $3,000? And I of course,
he'd take 15 for the voice and give you 3.
Yeah, because that's where
that's the majority.
Yeah,
of
it'd take him 10 minutes to lay down all the voice tracks.
101.
I know what you're thinking now.
Deliciously disgusting.
God,
Brian was great.
101.
I know what you're thinking now.
Deliciously disgusting.
You're absolutely right.
This is the Bubba the Love Sponge Show.
boom.
Yeah.
On a lot of that stuff, I could just stop right there.
101.
I know what you're thinking now.
Deliciously disgusting.
You're absolutely right.
This is the Bubba the Love Sponge Show.
Do you have on the Bubba Radio Network?
Yeah,
do you have that?
I have that. I have Tara saying on the
Okay.
Bubba Radio, and I got that on several different places, so we could just piece that on
Absolutely.
there. You know.
It's the Bubba the Love Sponge Show on Howard 101.
I love the
Bubba the Love Sponge Show.
Lasker. I got Lasker.
The Howard
doing-
stuff. Now that was Carl produced that stuff too. Yeah.
No. No. They produced that.
They produced it. Okay.
Carl did all the Brian James deal.
Stop. Think about what you just heard. Pretty fucked up, huh? It's the Bubba the Love Sponge Show
And
on
Brad,
Howard.
you know what, Brad? You could beep that.
Yeah.
That would be pretty right.
Stop. Think about what you just heard. Pretty fucked up, huh?
Yeah,
It's the Bubba the Love Sponge Show on Howard 101.
God.
Great stuff, man.
Oh.
What does dumb fuck mean?
Balls were sufficiently busted in that break.
That's fucked up, man.
Back to the Bubba the Love Sponge Show after this.
Oh, here's a bullying one.
I want you to stay on this channel.
More bullying and brutality after this.
That's real nice.
Bubba the Love Sponge.
Man, Carl did a good job, did he not?
Yeah, he was pretty good.
Carl's pretty fucking good.
Good one.
Because what's Woody listens to? Woody's not listening to Brian James.
Right.
He's listening to the
Production.
to the production and the bells and the whistles and the transitions. Are you not?
Yeah.
Good one.
I want you to stay on this channel.
More bullying and brutality after this.
That's real nice.
Bubba the Love Sponge on Howard 101.
Lummy, did you include that one? I hope you did.
And you know what?
Pretty sure they're all on
Nobody's doing that production anymore. Nobody's doing good production anymore.
No, nobody's
I don't
doing.
care what market, because I listen online to markets all over the country all the time just to hear what people are doing. And man, everything is just a straight voicer
Everything.
over some kind of little piece of crap stinger or something.
Yep.
It's just
The voice of reason has spoken.
The Love Sponge.
More Bubba the Love Sponge after this.
Boom
yeah.
on the Bubba Radio Network.
Got it. Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah. That's good stuff, man.
Yeah.
There's a lot of it there too. We can make a lot.
There's so much.
This is what you would call a lose-lose situation.
Who gives a shit?
More of the Bubba the Love Sponge Show after these words on Howard 101.
On the Bubba
God,
Radio
it's really good
Oh,
stuff.
it is.
Go ahead, write a complaint letter.
This is the best. Listen.
Go ahead, write a complaint letter. Write a complaint letter. We're out of toilet paper in the men's room. This is the...
It's got Power Pig feel to it,
Yeah, it
doesn't
does. Absolutely.
It's got Power Pig feel.
Go ahead, write a complaint letter. Write a complaint letter. We're out of toilet paper in the men's room. This is the Bubba the Love Sponge Show on Howard 101.
You know what we used to say about 970 back when Eric Chase when Brian went on the air and we brought in Eric Chase and Eric was doing all the imaging. 970's imaging was better than the radio station. In other words, when you listen to the imaging on 970 as a talk station, you thought you were going to listen to this. You know what I'm trying to say?
Eric, it was unfucking believable.
Yeah, it's like, and then when you listen to the station,
you're
it's
like, this guy's not as good as the imaging.
Yeah, you know.
Achieving new lows for the lowbrow.
You can get a job substitute teaching for retarded kids.
The Bubba the Love Sponge Show on Howard 101.
We used to make fun of podcasting. Listen, and if we would only know, listen.
I don't know. Maybe this should be the swan song.
Just a step above podcasting.
Bubba, the Love Sponge.
On Howard 1.
I mean, that might still be applicable, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Well, anyway.
Well, radio, I don't care what everybody says, Bubba. I'm always going to defend radio first because you know me, I'm old school. But I still say radio legitimizes podcasting. You know,
absolutely.
You can have the greatest podcast in the world. Now, there's a different rule for A-list celebrities.
Yeah, there's a few exceptions.
There are exceptions.
Yeah,
if you're an A-list celebrity or sports celebrity or whatever, you know, you're going to have you can have a successful podcast without radio. But just Joe, there's a million Joe and Molly's out there doing podcasts that nobody freaking knows about.
Mm-hmm.
If you say, I do a podcast, I look at people and they say to me, I do a podcast. You know, I like to do a radio show. And okay, well, everybody's doing a podcast. So what?
Right.
Radio still legitimizes podcasts.
Well, everybody in the world can do a podcast.
Absolutely.
They can record one.
Very few can do radio.
I was just about to say, 98% of podcasts suck.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's the absolute truth.
Well, there's
the truth.
only 5% of podcasting makes money. Did you know that?
No, absolutely, I knew that.
Only 5% of podcasting makes any significant amount of money at all. I'm talking about $3,000 or more a month.
Yeah.
Right. It's gotten such a. And it's such a now crowded space that
it's ridiculous.
Everything just very few of it's good, and most of it sucks.
I'm telling you, that's an understatement. 98% of it sucks.
Right.
Yeah, but once you're on radio, you've been vetted by somebody else who thinks that your opinion is worth hearing.
Right.
So
That's right.
More banter about penis envy in the two-fingered cul-de-sac technique after this.
With that, Brad, is that the best?
More banter about penis envy in the two-fingered cul-de-sac technique after this. Bubba the Love Sponge on
the Bubba Radio Network.
Unbelievable.
This is but don't you think, Woody, this will make a huge difference?
Without a doubt.
I mean, instead of saying, blah, 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 we'll be right back.
Yeah, it's time.
And then you hear this.
The Bubba Radio Network will return after this.
That sucks.
Yeah. It's time, no question.
Anyway.
It's time.
Yeah.
It's time, yeah.
It's time for us to leave. Woody, I love you. You need to come in once a month and we'll just do a State of the Woody or how radio is.
State of the Woody.
Whatever.
I'd love to.
Yeah, seriously. And I know Lummy, he's a fucking huge sports guy. Did you know that?
Yeah.
You should have him on your sports show from time to time.
Anytime.
Are you all, are you Lightning, Rays?
Absolutely.
You know all that?
The Rays are 10-0.
Oh, the Rays are on fucking fire.
They are. I don't know. Those first 3 series, I'm not so,
Hey, man, you win the,
Yeah. They beat Boston last night in a great pitching duel. So
we have our number 1 guy.
And guess what, man? And they're getting a crowd.
Yeah, they are.
And they're getting a crowd.
Oh, you noticed, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, you put a winner on the field. That's what happens.
Yeah. Woody, we love you, buddy.
Yes, sir.